Well, hello. Today I thought it would be fun to just kind of talk about my favorites and my least favorite things that are existing in the game. This isn't like a state of the game thing or anything where I'm going to be talking about like my favorite and least favorite changes that they've made or anything like that. I've just got a whole bunch of categories. I spent a really long time trying to figure out what my favorites and least favorites actually are. And I'm 100% certain that during all the time I spent trying to figure this out, I forgot like half of the items that exist in the game. So, I tried my best, okay? So first category is dungeons. That one was probably one of the easier ones, at least for figuring out my favorite dungeon, which is Tomb of the Nine Gods, of course. It's just been really cool to run through ever since it came out in Mod 12, which was a long time ago. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it was actually like 3 years ago, I think. It was quite a while ago. The only thing in Tong that I don't like is the excessive amount of staircases. But I can get over that. Now, on the other hand, my least favorite dungeons, I couldn't pick just one. Had to pick two, because they're kind of similar, and that's Grey Wolf Den and Cragmire Crypts. Cragmire Crypts in particular is just very long, feels very long, and there's nothing in it that's particularly interesting. And Grey Wolf Den is kind of the same. This ties into the next category as well, but I don't like the final boss in Grey Wolf Den at all. The one in Cragmire Crypts is just annoying, but the whole dungeon as a whole, both of them are just not very interesting to me. And I think that's just because they're super old and don't really have any engaging mechanics in them, so they're just pretty boring for me. Now, like I just said, the next category is going to be dungeon mechanics, and my favorite one, I spent quite a while thinking about this, and I couldn't settle on any one thing, but so I went with the thing that is the most satisfying to me to, do in a dungeon, and that is when there are red zones that require precise positioning. And some examples of this are in the Tomb of the Nine Gods final boss, whenever you have all of those red lines that you have to carefully position yourself between. And then Malabog and Valindra's Tower have this as well, except they're not as precise, but they're still one of the more fun things, I think, at least in Valindra, because you have to move around. In Malabog, you just kind of stand there most of the time, but it was still an example. And I believe Zariel has something like this as well. I just haven't done Zariel yet to get to experience it, but I just find it's very satisfying to just not die, So that's why I like it so much. I was debating between that or choosing the sunlight mechanic in Ravenloft, but I was thinking about it and I realized it's not really so much that I like it a lot, just that it's something interesting to, pay attention to and do. The sword is quite fun. I like to try and steal it when I'm playing healer in there, for no reason other than to just shout at everyone, please don't die, or I'll just be like, don't die, and I run in with the sword and then I die, because obviously if you're using the sun sword, you're going to be generating a lot of aggro, right? And you're the healer, so you're not doing any healing, and it's just fun, okay, leave me alone. Anyways, my least favorite dungeon mechanic, I decided was the Grey Wolf Den, the final boss, the wolf summon thing. I don't know what it's called, but after the boss gets like 50% health, he gets super angry and turns into this giant werewolf, and then you have to just wait around for this wolf to spawn, and then you have to lure him really close to the boss and then kill it, and then he's suddenly back to normal. That's just quite silly to me, and a lot of people don't know about it, don't know what to do, and they're just kind of looking around like, what do I do? It's just not something that's very interesting. It's just like, you just wait for the wolf to spawn, bring it to the boss, and kill it once, and then I guess sometimes twice. Now, my favorite boss fight is kind of interesting because I chose the one that is the most difficult for me so far, and the one that I still have not completely mastered, and that would be Halaster, as I'm sure some of you might have guessed. But I really like how engaging it is and how much I have to pay attention to, although it does end up being more frustrating than rewarding a lot of the time. I just like that I'm not just mindlessly staring off into space, pressing E every now and then and spamming my at-wills, which I know people are going to be like, well, we don't play cleric that way, or whatever healer that I happen to be playing, but just, again, leave me alone, okay? Anyways, yes, Halaster is one of my favorites along with Strahd. I really do like the Strahd boss fights. even though it did have its time where it was extremely difficult. But it was really nice and satisfying to be able to finally understand it back when it came out and be able to farm that. Why did we farm it again? What dropped in there that we were farming? Did anything farmable drop in there, or were we just farming it for no reason? Maybe. I don't know. Oh, the sun shards was a thing if you wanted the sunset weapons, I think. And then I don't know if there was anything else. Probably just seals for the gear, but that's beside the point. I enjoy both of those boss fights a lot. Now, my least favorite boss fight, as I don't know if some of you will be able to guess this, maybe you will, maybe you won't, but it's Cabal in the Spellplague Caverns, because it's just so incredibly boring. The majority of the first boss fight is spent standing around doing nothing, and that's not exactly a boss fight to me. It's more just like, let's kill time type thing, and I just hate pretty much every aspect of that boss fight. The only thing I like in there is how you have to move between the inside and the outside rings depending on where Cabal is so you don't get burned alive, except the fire doesn't hurt very much anymore. I guess it's also funny to watch people who don't know to break their chains in the, I guess, third phase of Cabal, whenever there's the 5 Archon things that you have to kill, and then if you don't break your chain, you get pulled into the center and killed. It's really funny to watch those people die. But that's the only interesting part about it. Other than that, it's just a very slow and very boring boss fight. And I would actually like to see it reworked at some point in the future, although I find that probably won't ever happen, unfortunately. It's just a big pile of disappointment. That's my description of it. Okay, so next is my favorite and least favorite fashion piece, which this took quite a lot of thinking to pick two. I picked 2 favorites. It's not just one, but I'm certain that there are some other really awesome ones that I like that I just forgot existed, but I picked the animated version of the wings, which we know will be coming back in some form or other at some point in the future, hopefully sooner rather than later, because I would like to wear those again. It was just, the feeling I got when I saw they were animated was like extreme happiness, and it was really great, okay? It made me feel like I could maybe fly a little bit if I tried, you know? The other one that I picked was the Barbed Flames body paint. I really like the body paints in general. I think they're a really unique and cool piece of fashion, but the Barbed Flames one in particular is the one that I think looks the best, and it's the one that I pick all the time whenever I'm, wanting to wear one. The only thing is I wish the actual texture, I guess, of it was a little bit higher resolution, because if you put it on your character, you can see that it doesn't look, the lines aren't very crisp. It just doesn't look very clean, but other than that's the only complaint I have about it. But it's especially noticeable if you put it on like a character with really thick arms, then it becomes pretty obvious. Anyways, my least favorite fashion piece, I knew immediately this one because of how much it bothers me. And that is the Cult of the Dragon garb, which is the pants for the Cult of the Dragon fashion set. Because they have like this skirt thing around them, their pants, but like they also have a skirt thing. And whenever you run with that on, the skirt thing splits in half. So you walk like you're wearing pants, except it's a skirt thing, and it just really, really bothers me. I don't know why it bothers me as much as it does, but it really does, and I would really prefer to never see it again. I do like the headpiece and the shirt piece of that fashion set, though. Okay, now my favorite map or my favorite zone. This one took a lot of thinking as well, but I ended up picking Star River and Avernus as my favorite zones. I thought about picking Willowwood too, because Willowwood is really pretty, but I just really enjoy being in Star River and Avernus too. Whereas I never really find myself going back to Willowwood for anything, partially because there's nothing for me to go back there to do other than look at it, I guess. Or maybe do the, I almost call them insurgencies. The little bubble things to get the resonances. That's the only reason I would ever go back there. For Star River and Avernus, there's a lot more things to do there. Plus, they look really nice. And in Avernus in particular, you get to ride a car around, which is super cool. I would honestly, as far as the car thing goes, I would love to see some kind of event where it's like a car obstacle course or a race thing. Not because it follows the lore at all, but because it would be fun to race other people in your cars and like navigate a course. That would be so much fun. You can't argue with me, that would be fun. Okay, I got a little bit off topic, but my least favorite map or zone, I had ended up going with Bryn Shander because it's like 99% white. And I really don't like white areas because they're very bright and uncomfortable and unpleasant to look at. And plus they're more often than not, white means snow. And I really hate cold and snow. And it's just all a bad experience, okay? I don't like winter one bit. And then I also went ahead and picked Ebon Downs as my other least favorite because I was there yesterday and it was just really boring looking. It was quite sad, like swampy village environment. I didn't like it. Okay, now my favorite campaign, I wasn't really sure which campaign would have been my favorites because to some degree all of them are repetitive because, you know, almost all of them, if not all of them, at least the newer ones anyways, have weekly quests or repeatable quests or things like that that are the same every week. But I ended up going with Barovia because I really do enjoy that campaign and I enjoy being in the zone. I enjoy just enjoy everything about Barovia. I had a really good time in Mod 14 and it kind of brings back good memories to think about what the game was like back then. So it's just a good experience for me that I had in Barovia, so that's why I picked it as my favorite. Everyone already knows my least favorite campaign, so I really could continue without even mentioning it, but I will just say the 2 words of its name and then move on because I think everybody knows why. Acquisitions Incorporated. Okay, moving on. NPCs. This one was suggested, a few of these were suggested by people who answered my question that I posted on my community tab and in Discord, but NPCs was something that was suggested there, and so my favorite NPCs are Lulu, because she's very cute and I don't care what any of you think, and then Etrian from Avernus because she just reminds me of myself because she's got this like sarcastic kind of attitude and I think it's funny and it reminds me of me. Now my least favorite NPCs, this one kind of goes without saying, but Bildrath from Barovia. Here, I'll do an impression of Bildrath. You give Bildrath money. How was that? Every time I walk past him, I wish I could just punch him in the face because he's just so annoying. I don't remember the other line he says a lot, or I would do an impression of that one too. But anyways, my other least favorite NPC is Jim Dark Magic, and to be honest, I forgot his name for a while, so that's just kind of how insignificant he is in my brain, that I forgot that he even existed. Well, I knew he existed, but I forgot his name. His character just seems very forced. Like, I really wanted to, you know, get his humor and find him funny and enjoy it, but I just couldn't. So he's just annoying now. Part of the reason why I avoid Acquisitions Incorporated campaign like the plague, other than the campaign itself is not enjoyable. But now someone asked me for my favorite and least favorite classes. I think that question is kind of, I'm not redundant, but like whatever a word is for not necessary because the answer should be pretty obvious already. But my favorite classes are Cleric and Rogue, and then my least favorite is Ranger. Okay, so now my favorite and least favorite gear piece based on appearance would have to be Picaroon's Tricorn, which is the pirate hat thing that comes from Cragmire Crypts, Black Ice Boots, and then the Great Weapons Goring Greatsword. First of all, I like Picaroon's Tricorn because it's a pirate hat, and my Rogue is kind of piratey themed. It just fits this theme super well, and I like it a lot. Also, I spent forever farming for that thing, so it better be good. Now, the Black Ice Boots, I've worn those on 2 or 3 of my classes, so that's how you know that I like them. They're just detailed enough to look super cool, but they're not super detailed in that you can't really see what's going on. There's too much going on, and they just look super nice. Now, the Great Weapon Goring Greatsword is just a really large sword, and it just suits the barbarians super well to have a super big sword because their whole motto is kind of like speak softly and carry a big sword, except they don't speak softly. They have like battle shouts and roar and stuff, so they're pretty loud actually, so cancel that. So my least favorite gear pieces are the ones that are like the basic plate armors that they look really lame, like the ones that you get while leveling that are like the gear of something something +6 or whatever. The blue pieces. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, but I can't think of what they're called. But anyways, the plate armor is very plain and boring looking, and then if you try to dye it, dyes just look pretty terrible whenever you try to dye metal, and so it just is all around pretty bad. It makes you look like a poor peasant whenever you tried to make your own plate armor out of your used soda cans, except the inside of them, the plain side, and that's just kind of what you look like whenever you wear that. Okay, so now my favorite module and my least favorite module. This one, I don't know if it would actually be accurate because I'm not going to pick a mod as my favorite or least favorite that I didn't actually play through when it came out. So I didn't really play anything before mod 10, which I tried the game before mod 10. I think it was like mod 4 or something when I first had my character, but I never even finished the leveling process with it, so it's not like I can say, oh, mod 4 was my least favorite because I quit. I didn't play any of the mod 4 content. I really do think mod 12 has been my favorite mod that has released between mods 10 and 20, because I remember very well just the sheer excitement I felt coming home from work to go explore with dinosaurs. I was super hyped about it, and it was also the last mod that I didn't experience on the preview server or test server first. And I think that was kind of part of the whole excitement ordeal, because I didn't know what was coming. I just knew that it was going to be dinosaurs and it was going to be fun. And I was definitely correct. I enjoyed mod 12 a lot. The dungeon that came out with it was great. Now my least favorite mod, the same mod that Acquisitions Incorporated came out because nothing else really happened in the game that was remotely exciting in that mod. And that is mod 15. I didn't enjoy mod 15 at all really. It was just kind of there. It was pretty boring, not a lot of content. The skirmish that came out with it wasn't anything worth mentioning. I didn't like the campaign, so I just kind of farmed Astro Diamonds during that entire mod and didn't really do anything. Also, that was the mod where rogues were pretty bad, so that kind of sucked too. Okay, so next we have companions. So my favorite looking companion is either the Paranoid Delusion because it copies you, so it's like having a clone of yourself, and I already look pretty cool, so having two of me is even more cool. And then the other ones being the Fira or the Mystic Fira because I love the flaming bird and the purple fire. They just look super cool. I kind of wish they were good so that I could use it because they are just really beautiful to look at, and it sucks that I didn't get to use one whenever they were actually okay to use, which I don't know if they were ever okay to use, but anyways, my least favorite companion appearance. This one was really easy for me to think of, and that is, the first one is the cat, because the cat companion in Neverwinter does not look like a cat at all. It kind of just looks like a dog, and that's super disappointing because I think it's a cat, so it should just be very cute, but it's not very cute. I wish there were more cute companions in Neverwinter, like the owlbear cub, polar bear cub, Bulette pup. I think those three are cute. I can't think of any other ones that are cute off the top of my head. We need more cute companions, please. Thanks. I say that while we're in the middle of a hell module. We need more cute companions. That just wouldn't fit the theme at all. Anyways, the other ones that I have as my least favorites are the Myconid one that came out with mod 16. The kind of I don't even know how to describe it. I want to say the mushroom looking one, but it doesn't really look like a mushroom either. It's just like a pile of red fungus. That's a good description. And then the other one is the sprites. There's the fire sprite, the regular sprite, the ice sprites, and the sylph, I think, is technically a sprite as well. And they just look super awkward. They just kind of dart around the screen really robotically, and they don't look in any way natural, so they just look super awkward. Okay, next is mounts. I made a video actually about my favorite mounts a long time ago. Back when I only had 1,000 subscribers, I think was when I released it. I think it was my 1,000 subscriber special or something, is when I talked about my favorite mounts. But anyways, if you didn't know this, you do now, but my favorite mount is the Cosmic Stag. It's the one that my cleric uses all the time, ever since it came out. And I had never been more excited to spend money because it's first of all, it's really shiny. It has many colors, and it sparkles, and it's large, I guess. I like large, shiny, sparkly, rainbow, glowy things. My other favorite is the Soot Tribal Lion. I think that's what it's called. It has something about soot in it, maybe it's just the Soot Lion or something, but it fits with my aesthetic of my rogue very well. Plus, I just like darker colored mounts. I say after I'm oh, this Cossack Stag is super bright and colorful, and now I'm just like, I like black mounts. I like both, okay? But it's just very plain colored, it's very dark, it suits my piratey rogue theme, and it just goes with everything. I also really like the other two variants of lions that no one really knows exist. The Sienna lion, and I forget the name of the other one, but it's on the screen right now. But I don't like those so much that I would use them over the soot lion. Now, my least favorite mounts, I tried to pick a certain singular specific one, but it was not possible, so I just went with any wolf or bear mount, because whenever you're riding one of those, you just look super awkward, like you don't fit, and it's super uncomfortable. And speaking of uncomfortable, when you ride the basilisk, it just looks super awkward too, but not nearly as much as the wolves or the bears. I don't like them very much. Okay, there's two more categories, but only one of them is about the game. And this next one is the weapon and armor enchantment category. So the ones that I think look the best for the armor enchantment, my favorite one is negation. It just looks great. Elven battle is my second favorite, which works out pretty well because it's pretty good right now, and I have it on I think only 2 classes right now. My least favorite armor enchantment, I guess, is Frostburn or the Fireburst. I don't know. It was really hard for me to pick because I never see them, and I had to remember kind of what they look like. I know Frostburn just kind of makes you look like you have snow all over you, and Fireburst is like fire, I guess, which probably wouldn't look too bad. And then you have Thunderhead, which is the lightning thing. I don't really like any of those 3, but Frostburn I picked as like the one I like the least out of all of them. Now, my favorite weapon enchantment has to be Flaming, although I think they might have changed it from how it used to be, because I know they changed Vorpal. Vorpal used to be way more like spazzy, bright, and annoying looking, except I really liked it. It was the first enchanted weapon that I ever saw playing this game, and I was like, whoa, how do I get my weapon to look like that? I do quite like Vorpal, but Flaming just looked so cool. I have a screenshot of when I previewed a Barbarian Sword on my Rogue? Yeah, I think it was my Rogue years ago, and it just looked so awesome. I might put it up if I can find it, but honestly don't know if Flaming even still looks like that because I haven't seen Flaming in like ages. I really would like to see a weapon and armor enchantment rework in general, because so many of them are just not very useful at the moment. Anyways, my least favorite looking weapon enchantment is Bronzewood, because it makes you look like you've got a moldy weapon. I know it's supposed to be like, I don't know, butterflies or whatever, I think. Am I remembering it wrong? I have one on my Barbarian, but I just disabled the visual because I don't like it. So I know that's why it's my least favorite. But it's like nature-y. I don't know, I just don't like it, okay? I don't have a good explanation for this one. Anyways, my last category for my favorites and least favorites does not have anything to do with the game, but it does have something to do with me, and that is my favorite and least favorite video that I have ever made. I think I actually suggested this one to other people because I thought it would be fun. And interestingly, 2 of my favorite videos are not even on this channel. They're on my other channel. So whenever I lost my channel earlier this year, I started a second one as kind of like a backup in case I never got this one back. And I put 2 of the best videos I've ever made out on it. And those are the 20 tips for Neverwinter in 2020 and the Neverwinter WTF moments. I love both of those videos very much. I put a ton of effort into both of them. I think might be why I like them so much. It's unfortunate that they're not on this channel. I kind of wish they were, but especially because the 20 tips one is my most successful video ever. I think it has over 150,000 views right now, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, my other favorite one just holds a special place in my heart. It was one of the worst performing, I want to say, video series on this channel, and that is the trivia game show that I did last year. It was super fun to host and try and come up with the questions and stuff, and it took a ton of work to edit it and put it all together, and all the prizes I gave out and stuff. It was a really fun experience. It just didn't end up doing very well on my channel, interestingly. because no one really cares about giveaways or for some reason on my channel. Anytime I've ever made a giveaway video or anything where I was giving something away, it never performed well, because that's not what you people are here on my channel for, I guess. I don't know. But my least favorite video is the first one I ever made. Kind of goes without saying, most people hate the first thing they've ever done because they were bad at it. But yeah, please don't go watch it because it's pretty bad. I don't think it was actually the first video I ever posted on this channel, but it was the first one where I spoke. It was the Mod 13 AC Cleric Guide, I think. I was terrified to record it. Like, I was really nervous the whole time I was recording it, even though it wasn't even, it's not live or anything. Like, I can edit it and stuff. Super nervous. The information I gave in it was not completely correct, and it's just bad. Very bad. Please don't go watch it. I mean, if you want to see how much I've changed in the past 2 years, then by all means go ahead, but it will be a super cringe and terrible experience for you if you watch it, so just don't do it. Anyways, that is all the categories. It took me way longer to get through everything than I thought, but I do want to know what your favorite and least favorite things are for the various categories that I went through. So if you would like to, interject your tippity-tippity-tappity fingers on your keyboard to make a comment, to put in the comments, tell me what your favorite and least favorite things are about the game. But that is all I have for you today, so thank you very much for watching or listening or whatever. And if you could be so kind to click that button that has a picture of a hand on it where the thumb is pointed up. That means that you liked the video, and if you did like the video, then you should click that button because it adds one more thumb to my thumb collection. And we all know that thumb collections are the most prestigious thing that you can own in your lifetime, so yeah. Okay, bye.